I want to get into one thing briefly, because Dave has been kind of harping on the fact that this facepalm theme might be a little bit confusing, and I just want to admit, it's my fault. I was the one in the brainstorming session who said facepalm. But then again, Dave then did say he liked it. So that's how that happened. But it's cool. Everyone seems to immediately know what facepalm is, but when you try to think of a story that results in a facepalm, it gets a little weirder. So I've been like observing my life recently, trying to think about where facepalm moments happen. And son of a gun, I had many. But I do think that they can happen when they're inspired by someone else. So like last week I was at the bank. Had to do something with my account. Dude says, hand me your MAC card. I'll look up at your account. We'll get it all figured out. Great. We do it. I leave. I'm about to go home, and I'm like, he still has my MAC card. I go right back in the bank, and I'm like, dude, you got my MAC card? He says, I thought it was someone else's, and I put it in the shredder. So that's a facepalm. That's a pretty... Now, I didn't actually do that, as Dave said. I wanted to, but that would have been mean. So anyway, so that's one caused by another. This morning, I happen to have been invited to be on a panel for the Sustainable Business Network about cause marketing by Larry Downey, it's not a conspiracy, there's no cabal, but he happens to be a judge tonight. But so I was on this panel with other B Corps, and 8:15 in the morning, get down to Center City, dressed in an outfit that I thought was presentable enough to be on a panel. It went really well. I had a really good time. One of the cool things that happened is I was sitting next to Brian Linton, who's one of the founders of United by Blue, and he liked my socks. These have pictures of forests, and they say, I fucking love it out here. And he wanted to know who made it, and I have no idea they were a gift. But when the United by Blue guy likes your socks, I figure I'm doing all right. So I'm feeling good, not just because of the sock comment, and I leave, and I said I'm going to treat myself. So I walk over to La Colombe for a latte. I haul back to my car to go back to the office and work on whatever resemblance of a story this will be. And I get in the car, and I squeeze the coffee cup too hard, and I'm now wearing my entire latte. It was delicious on the way from La Colombe to the car. By the way, the socks were safe, but everything else was pretty much trashed. So hopefully it won't be permanent. But that's a facepalm moment caused by myself. But I think there's another type of facepalm that can happen that's more like a eureka moment, an epiphany. And that Junto that I was mentioning is a place where one of those happened for me. And so Jeff DeMasi of Punk Ave and Indie Hall, it's a great website company. They do a lot of websites for nonprofits throughout Philadelphia and the region. He, I think it was like 2013, puts on this business retreat, and he was calling it the Junto. I have no idea how I got invited, but there I was. And I saw the guest lists and the speaker lists, and it talked about how this is a retreat for people who believe that business can be both for profit and for good. As a founder of a B Corp, I was like, well, I believe that. That's cool. And then looking at some of the speakers, amongst them was a guy named Chris Satullo, whose work I really respected, and I thought this would be cool. Little did he know what would happen to him by speaking there. So I decided I was going to make the investment of time and treasure and take a Friday and Saturday and go to this thing. And Jeff did a really good job of setting it up. For a location, he got the Arch Street Meeting House in Old City. So it's beautiful, old, historic Quaker meeting house. And it really set a tone for some quiet self-reflection. But he also did a really good job of encouraging all those in attendance to really be open and be vulnerable, that we would be able to take more from these 2 days if we really kind of put ourselves out there to each other, because he'd created this safe, quiet space. And I have to say, Jeff's work, he also started Ignite Philly, which is another event, and I'd taken a lot of motivation from that for Mission Story Slam. So I really respect the way he does things. And I like to think that we've set this room up to allow it to be safe, to be vulnerable as well. This is not part of Dave's cajoling, I swear. It's just what we like to do. So the first place that really came into play was on day one. We were asked to do an exercise. We broke into small groups, and we were told to bring up something that you have been challenged by within your business, but again, take that risk and share something that might be a little difficult. So I'm going to share with you what I talked about. My business was still coming out of the recession. Because we work with a lot of nonprofits, it took us a little longer because nonprofits took a long time to get funds coming back in again. And during that recession, we had done a project for one of our clients at the American Helicopter Museum, and there logically ended up being some people from Boeing who make a lot of helicopters there, and there are people from their creative services working with us, and they liked our work. And it was very nice to have compliments. And then they said, we'd like you to provide some crew for us. And let me explain, this is not Boeing who makes Dreamliners. This is Boeing Defense Systems down in Ridley Park who makes Chinook helicopters. And I was very, very, very conflicted. And I went to the team and explained why I was conflicted. We're a mission-driven B Corp. And all of them were like, we need to do the work. We need the money. It's the recession. I mean, we've done corporate work. We love having corporate clients when they get referred to us through our nonprofit stuff, but this one was a little weird for me. I do think that it's very possible that Dave in particular was really excited about filming inside of helicopters, which it happened. It was cool. So we did do that for a little while, and I told this story to this group at the Junto. And they all said, all of them, each of them in my group said, your team is right. Because you can't run a sustainable business if you can't sustain it. You can't be triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit without the profit. And that was a huge facepalm for me. That was a huge epiphany and it doesn't mean that I love that work, and I haven't done it in a long time, and I'm okay with that. But that idea that that I'm running a sustainable business that can then execute my mission, that if I don't sustain myself, if I don't sustain my team, then we can't work the mission. And that was very freeing for me. So that was an epiphany facepalm. So I do hope that will help you guys reach inside and find some stories.